Alright folks, let's talk Sambo. This stuff is no joke. It came out of Russia in the early 20th century, and it's one of the most effective martial arts out there. Back then, Russia was a melting pot of different fighting styles. You had Judo coming in from Japan, catch wrestling from the West, and a whole bunch of traditional grappling styles from the different ethnic groups within the Soviet Union. Imagine the streets of Russia back then, man. You had dudes from all over, tough as nails, figuring out ways to scrap and survive. They combined the best of the best, and boom, Sambo was born. It was all about practicality, man. No fancy moves, just pure effectiveness. This wasn't some dojo stuff either. Sambo was embraced by the Soviet military and became a core part of their hand-to-hand combat training. They knew they needed something that could handle any situation, and Sambo fit the bill perfectly. Now you can't talk about Sambo without mentioning the OGs, the guys who put it on the map. Vasily Oshchepkov, Viktor Spiridonov, and Anatoly Kharlampiev. These guys were pioneers, man. They traveled the world, studying different fighting styles, taking what worked and leaving the rest behind. Oshchepkov was a straight-up badass. He was one of the few foreigners to earn a black belt in Judo from the Kodokan in Japan. He brought that knowledge back to Russia and started incorporating it into his own system. Then you had Spiridonov, a master of self-defense who had traveled all over, learning from wrestlers and fighters of all kinds. But the guy who really brought it all together was Kharlampiev. He took everything Oshchepkov and Spiridonov had gathered and created a unified system that became known as Sambo. He's considered the father of Sambo, and for good reason. He dedicated his life to developing and spreading this martial art, and his influence is still felt today. So, Sambo was born in the early 20th century, right in the middle of all this political upheaval in Russia. The Soviets came to power, and they saw the potential of Sambo as a tool for building national pride and military strength. They made it a core part of their sports system and pumped resources into its development. Sambo schools popped up all over the Soviet Union. It became a huge part of their athletic culture. They even started sending their Sambo fighters to international competitions, showing the world what this Russian martial art was all about. This wasn't just propaganda, though. Sambo was producing some seriously tough fighters. They were winning medals and championships, proving that their system was legit. And it wasn't just about competition either. Sambo became a way of life for many people in the Soviet Union, a way to stay in shape, learn self-defense, and connect with their cultural heritage. Section 4 Sambo goes global international recognition and competition. Now the Soviets couldn't keep Sambo to themselves forever. Word started to get out about this badass Russian martial art and people wanted in. In 1973 the first ever World Sambo Championships were held in Tehran, Iran, and it was a game changer. Finally Sambo was on the international stage and it didn't disappoint. Fighters from all over the world came to test their skills and Sambo proved that it could hang with the best of them. Over the years, the sport has continued to grow in popularity, with more and more countries adopting it and developing their own Sambo federations. But Sambo wasn't just one thing anymore. It evolved into different disciplines: Sport Sambo, which is similar to Judo but with more emphasis on leg locks; Combat Sambo, which is the military version, and includes striking, throws and submissions; Self-Defense Sambo, which focuses on practical techniques for real-life situations; and Freestyle Sambo, which is a more open rule set allowing for techniques from other grappling styles. Section 5 Sambo in the Octagon, a new breed of fighter. Fast forward to today, and Sambo is making serious waves in the world of MMA. You've got guys like Khabib Nurmagomedov and Fedor Emelianenko, who are absolute legends in the sport, showing the world the power of Sambo. These guys are known for their incredible grappling, their relentless pressure, and their ability to finish fights on the ground. They're not just winning fights either, they're dominating. Khabib, for example, retired undefeated, never losing a single round in his entire UFC career. That's unheard of. And Fedor, he's widely considered one of the greatest heavyweight fighters of all time. Sambo gives fighters a huge advantage in MMA, especially when it comes to takedowns and ground control. It's no coincidence that some of the most successful fighters in the world today have a background in Sambo. And as Sambo continues to spread and evolve, we can expect to see even more Sambo fighters making their mark on the world stage.